cancel an event. This Saturday's fight at Mandalay Bay is being canceled. Dan Henderson has a partial tear in his MCL and couldn't continue. He tried to train. He tried to continue to work out. He saw doctors, and there was nothing we could do to save that fight. For somebody to fight Jon Jones on 8 days' notice is tough to do. But to be totally honest with you guys, one guy did. Not only when I called him did he say, I'll take the fight. He said, I'll fly to Las Vegas tonight and fight him. And that was Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen accepted the fight with Jon Jones, wanted the fight bad. So as of, 8, 9 o'clock last night, we had a fight. We here at the UFC started working, started, creating different commercials. PR started getting ready to crank up. I was going to do this call, and this was obviously going to be a much different call this morning. But the one thing that I never thought in a million years would happen, happened. Jon Jones said, I'm not fighting Chael Sonnen with 8 days' notice. Again, something that's never happened in UFC history. A guy who's a world champion and considered one of the pound-for-pound best turns down a fight. So that has never happened either. So right now what's happening is this fight is canceled, and we're moving. It'll be Jon Jones versus Lyoto Machida, Saturday, September 22nd, on the Toronto, Canada card at UFC 152. Yeah, how about this? How about he sits down? When he and I talk, he says, I got to sit down and talk to my coaches. His coach, Greg Jackson, says, there's no way you take this fight. This fight. You don't take this fight on 8 days' notice. It would be the biggest mistake of your entire career. Wow. Chael Sonnen's a 185-pounder who wants to move up to 205, who hasn't trained a day for this fight, and the fight's in 8 days, yet he says he'll fly here tonight to fight the supposed pound-for-pound third-best fighter in the world, and the list goes on, the world champion, and you have so much, how much faith do you have in your champion and your guy? Now, I literally just bumped into Greg Jackson the other day, and I was kind of joking around about some of the things he said. I'll tell you what, I'll go on the record saying, this guy is a fucking sport killer, okay? This guy, this guy's from another planet. I've never even seen anything like it in my life. Tito's been the most difficult guy in the history of the company since I've been here, and Tito Ortiz did not take fights.
How do you think this affects Jon Jones' image right now? Because he's taken a lot of heat over the last 10 days or so for what he said about Machida. How do you think people will respond to him?
I don't know. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's great. The first fight ever canceled in UFC history since we've owned the company, and the first champion to ever turn down a match.
Did Jon specifically say he wasn't taking the fight because of that advice from Greg Jackson, or was that just one of the factors in his choice?
That is exactly why he didn't take the fight.
I know it's the heat of the moment, but how much does this situation possibly change your relationship with Jon Jones?
A lot.
What type of ramifications are there, as far as like canceling a show between the pay-per-views and everything, all the advertising? This is a big hit in some ways, right?
It's a major deal. We lose shitloads of money that's already been spent. We're 8 days out.
Yeah.
We've spent shitloads of money on this fight. People, and how far, and I sit here and we've been talking about it all morning, how far this goes and how bad it hurts, but I don't really know because it's the first time we've ever done it. So I don't know what I don't know yet.
So the relationship with Jon Jones now, since he's kind of put you in such a pickle, how are you going to promote him from here on out, or how is this really going to affect your relationship and future fights for him?
Jon Jones has been one of these guys who, as much as he's won and all the things that he's accomplished in a short amount of time. Like he burst onto the scene a year and a half ago. He's ripped through the top guys. He's been a champion that hasn't been very popular. And I don't think that this is going to do wonders for his popularity. As far as the relationship with us, me and Lorenzo are both disgusted.
It's understandable. What about Chael?
Chael's a lunatic, you know. I called Chael, and Chael said I'll fly to Las Vegas tonight and fight him at Mandalay Bay or any other casino you would like me to fight him at.
And so you had no problem with that. You were going to put him in, done deal.
Yeah, I think, did I think that the Chael Sonnen fight made sense as far as, the title and everything else? No, but you know what? These guys have been talking smack back and forth to each other, and I thought it was a fight that people would be interested in, and Chael was the guy who accepted it. So I said, yeah, I'll make this fight. And Chael was pumped. Chael was excited for this fight. Chael told me that he's a mental midget, and he'll beat him mentally first. And he also told me, Chael said, tell Jon Jones there won't be any spinning back fists in this fight. Chael Sonnen only falls down once.
You recently said that Chael would not probably get a title shot even if he beats Forrest in December. Obviously, things changed in the last 24 hours, but.
And what I also said is Chael will not talk his way to the title. But the thing about Chael Sonnen is, this is the type of guy that, when things are normal and things are, going the way they should go and guys aren't injured and guys are fighting, Chael Sonnen would have had to beat 3 nasty guys, at least to get to Jon Jones. But when in the heat of the moment, when things are going down, this is the guy that you pick up the phone and call, and he will fight anybody. This isn't a guy that just talks and shoots his mouth off. A guy that other guys won't fight on short notice. Chael Sonnen says, I'll fight him tonight. It's just, he's that kind of a person. He puts his money where his mouth is. He talks the craziest shit I've ever seen talked in the history of this sport, yet he goes out and delivers. He's willing to step up and fight. And I really respect that about the guy.
Do you guys not have something in the contract, especially with champions, that say, okay, you can have your say, you can say, if you don't want to take this fight on short notice or whatever, but at the end of the day, the UFC has the ultimate ruling on it. And if we tell you that you're going to fight Chael Sonnen on September 1st, then you have to do it.
No, being a fight promoter and being in the business that we're in, you can't make somebody fight. I can't make you fight. I can't say, you're absolutely going to fight this Saturday and you have to do it. I can't do that. You're either a fighter or you're not. You understand? This is what we all do for a living. I have a building here in Las Vegas on this block that 250 people have been busting their ass, working hard to promote this fight. And not just for Jon Jones, but for everybody that was on the card. There's a whole list of guys. You know what? Good for you, Jon Jones. You're rich and you got some money. You don't need to take this fight. But there's a bunch of guys on the undercard that this is how they feed their family. And this is how they make a living. And the UFC has spent shitloads of money to promote this fight. And because you don't feel like it, or whatever your reason is that you don't fight, I can't make you fight, but it's probably not a good idea to not do it.
What did Jon Jones have to say about fighting Machida? I mean, since he is able to turn down fights here, he didn't want to fight Machida a week ago, so how did you convince him to take that fight?
I can tell you this right now, he ain't turning down the Machida fight. If I get a call today that says he doesn't want to fight Machida, we'll have another conference call later this afternoon.
About what?
I'll have another media call, and it won't be good.
Would you consider,
Dario, come on.
Okay.
Come on. Quit asking me stupid questions.
But the thing is, does he even know he's fighting Machida yet, or is he finding out?
Yes, he does. Here? Yeah, we should have the bout agreement back right now.
And Dana, how do you think the other fighters that were supposed to be on the card are going to react to this news that they're not going to be fighting anymore? I mean, guys that are new to the UFC, only making 6-6, not going to be getting their
selfish, disgusting, decisions that doesn't just affect you. You just affected, 16 other people's lives, families, kids are going back to school. The list goes on of all the things, the money that was spent for these fighters to train and everything else. Again, like I said, I don't think that this is a decision that's going to make Jon Jones popular with the fans, sponsors, cable distributors, television network executives, or other fighters.
Dana, do you think that something has changed in Jon Jones? I mean, this is a guy that used to step up, and he took the fight against Mauricio Shogun, who on very short notice, and now he's turning down fights. I mean, did something change?
Yep. Apparently.
And just one last thing, Greg Jackson was just on Mauro Ranallo's radio show, and he's saying that he's very confused by your comments. Do you have any follow-up?
I'm very confused by his whole fucking business plan. I don't give a shit what Greg Jackson thinks. Guy's a fucking weirdo, man. Are you kidding me? Turning down a fight, saying if he turns down a fight with Chael Sonnen, it'd be the biggest mistake. I mean, if he takes the fight with Chael Sonnen, it'd be interviewed by any